Stop it out of here. Somebody call my agent.
All right.
No, yeah, I'd be honored to play Tuxedo Mask again, and maybe you guys can write to those people and tell them that you want people like myself back to play the role. You'd be amazed at how much the producers of shows and video games, how much they listen. I've seen friends. As I said, I live in LA and I'm friends with almost every VO actor there, and it's. In video games and stuff, and you'd be surprised. Like, we often hear rumors of like, okay, they were going to place us, or they're going to bring in a star to do things, because now things get, they get more famous, and then they're like, okay, we're going to bring in like Hugh Jackman, and then fans, when you guys write in and you guys say, no, man, we love this and we like it the way it is. Sometimes they just scrap the whole idea and they go, right, we'll stick with the people that the fans love, so. I would love to do it again, and I know I was just up in Vancouver doing a convention last month with some of the Sailor Moon people, Katie Griffin, who played Sailor Mars, Susan Roman, who played Sailor Jupiter, Terry Hawks, who played Sailor Moon, Ron Rubin was there, who played Artemis, and we were all hanging out. Oh, and Sugar Lynn Beard was there, who played Rini. And we got that question asked a lot, and all of us have said, of course, we'd love to do it again. Our cast was awesome. They're such great people and such great voice actors up in Canada, so it would be a pleasure to do it. I hope they do. I also don't know why we never made the last season. We never dubbed the last season. I don't know why that happened.
Can I ask you a quick follow-up question to that?
Yeah.
What do you think about when shows like that bring in a big name celebrity to replace a voice actor? Do you think it kind of ruins the quality of it? Like, first, take a Broadway show. You bring in a big name who may not be that good, but they're doing it for the name recognition. Do you think that degrades the quality of the work? Do you see what I mean by that?
Yeah, of course. We often grapple, that concept and that question. Look, if I was to be lucky enough to become a celebrity, I hope that people wouldn't suddenly start to dismiss my work just because I was a celebrity. So I think that's unfair to sometimes make the accusation that a celebrity degrades the work. They usually become who they are because they're good at what they do. It all depends on the celebrity. If they're bringing in Paris Hilton to play, to do Mamma Mia, then I'd probably have a problem with that. If they suddenly ask Kim Kardashian to play the voice of Sailor Moon, thank you. Thank you. I would probably have a major problem with that too. So I never have an issue. I've never had an issue whatsoever with the concept of a star or a celebrity getting a job. Our business is a business. It's called the acting business because it has to make money. What we do, if it doesn't make money, then there's no way that we can keep doing what we do. So I get it. I get why producers and directors make those choices. If fans, listen, who's not excited about the Les Mis movie, right?
I am.
Who's not excited about that? Come on, Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe. It's a killer cast. They're all phenomenal actors. They're all wonderful singers. Every one of them deserves those roles. So they're all superstars. And I'm sure that I personally know hundreds of amazing singers and actors who are not celebrities, but I get why they make those choices. So I never have an issue with that kind of stuff. I do have an issue when what we like to in the business call stunt casting. When they make a change to something and they bring someone in, or they try to change the role, or they try to stunt cast it, like bring someone in who just has a name who's maybe not right for that role just because they want the name value. And that's always, I think all you guys feel the same way. It's disappointing the fans. You don't want something that dilutes the quality of the game or the animation or the movie or the stage play. What we always want to see is the best person up there doing an amazing job, right? And just, making us care about those characters. And sometimes they just, hey, listen, sometimes we just get it wrong. We get cast and stuff, and when you sit there and you go, man, they shouldn't have hired me. I'm not the right guy for this. Luckily, I don't think I've ever had to say that. But, it happens. I mean, it's like people criticize Pierce Brosnan doing Mamma Mia, the movie, and it wasn't the greatest. I'm a major fan of Pierce Brosnan, and I mean, he was James Bond. He's a legend. And I wouldn't, I'm sure they offered him the role, and I wouldn't fault him for taking that role. I'm sure as an actor, you like to challenge yourself. You like to push yourself to go further. You like to try to do things sometimes that you aren't certain that you can do, and that's how we grow. That's how we learn. That's how we become better. Sometimes failing is the best way to become better. So I have no issues with those.
We have time for about 2 more questions.
Okay, yeah.
After that, we're gonna have to send the rest of the questions over to your
Okay,
choreographer.
cool.
Speaking of Mamma Mia, I was meaning to ask, when did you tour?
I toured, let's see, we've been home from almost 2 years exactly. So it would have been 2012, 2009 to 2010.
Did you ever come here? Like,
I played,
South Texas?
not this area. We played Lubbock. I played Lubbock, Texas. I played Amarillo. I actually got to play hockey in Amarillo, which was kind of cool. Yeah, the theater was attached to the ice rink, and so the Amarillo Gorillas. I'll never forget that. I got to put on skates and play hockey in Amarillo, which was kind of funky. I played San Antonio, beautiful city. I played Dallas. I'm trying to think where else we played.
St. Louis?
Yep, we played St. Louis.
Theater?
Yep, we played the Fox. Yeah, I played the Fox. We played a lot of the Foxes in Georgia and Atlanta. But I've never gotten down to South Texas. And
Yeah,
so
I was wondering because I had actually seen Mamma Mia about 2 years ago with my mom, and it was here in South. It was McAllen. It was McAllen. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it was really good. And
unfortunately, it wasn't me.
yeah, I couldn't remember if your name was on the cast.
My wife was doing it in Vegas at the time, and that's where I was visiting her in Vegas. And then that's how we ended up doing it. Is they asked her to go out on the tour, and I just remember thinking it was already tough enough to keep seeing each other every week, to drive to Vegas, back and forth to Vegas. So I auditioned just so that we could be together, and they ended up giving me the job, and we toured for a year, which was amazing. I have to say that was one of my favorite things ever to be on stage with my wife, but also I'm a Canadian, so I got to see so much of America. Like we got to play, I got
What role did your wife play?
She actually understudied Donna, Tanya, and Rosie. Yeah. Yeah, she understudied them for in Vegas and on the tour. She's incredibly talented. I got to see the so many sights, like seeing amazing cities like San Antonio and Mount Rushmore and something like that. It was amazing. Yeah. Sorry, next question.
I just want to know how did the role of Tuxedo Mask come about, and did you have a hard time getting the part?
Actually, that's a really interesting question, because I started out in Sailor Moon. I was hired originally to play Alan in the Doomtree series. Yeah, I played Alan. What was my sister's name? Does anybody remember? Anne. There you go, Anne. I answered my own question. It's terrible. That's terrible. Alan and Anne in the Doomtree series. So that's how I got into it. And actually, my acting teacher in Ryerson, my microphone technique teacher in Ryerson, was the director at the time. So he brought me in, and I played Alan in that section of it. At the time, Reno Romano started as Tuxedo Mask for the first 10 episodes, I believe it was. And then Toby Proctor took over when Reno moved to LA, and so Toby Proctor took over for, I can't remember how many episodes. And then at some point, they just decided they wanted to make a change. I don't really know what that was about or why. And then they asked me to if I would take over the role. And so I didn't really. It was weird because we actually had these questions up in Vancouver last month with the Sailor Moon cast, and it was so interesting to hear everybody else's stories about how they got the roles. But my story's kind of odd because I didn't actually audition, and I didn't, know that was going to happen. They just kind of came and said, "Do you want to do this?" And I went, yeah. They brought me in. I was already playing other stuff, and and Alan, and so they brought me in and just kind of had me do one reading to see if it would work, and then they liked it, and that was the rest is history.
Did you have a favorite phrase throughout the seasons?
That sucks about Tuxedo Mask. He speaks for forever, which, as you guys probably know in this panel, that's why I got the role, because I never shut up. My wife's favorite thing with me is this, which which means wrap it up, honey, wrap it up. But you know, Tuxedo Mask doesn't have any phrases. He doesn't do like, you know, moon prism power. He doesn't have that stuff. You know what I mean? He just goes on for hours with his poetic speeches that, you know, like, you know, and half the time I remember saying them and just being like, does this even make sense? I'd be like, does anybody understand what this guy's talking about? He's throwing roses and spewing poetry. I'm like, what's happening here, man? But yeah, he doesn't really have. I know. I just one of the from Promise of the Rose. I always remember that. Nothing good can ever grow in a garden full of darkness. Remember that right phrase, which actually made sense. It was one of his times that he actually made sense. Although, if I could clarify, I don't know that anything can grow in a garden full of darkness. So once again, it wasn't quite accurate. Thank you guys for coming out, and I'll be doing an autograph session. So
Thank you again, Vincent Corazza. I hope you guys are enjoying Ruronikon 2012. In about 30 minutes from now, we're going to be doing the superhero fashion show. Woo! After that, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So we have a full night of entertainment.